Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Namaste. I am going to start with a very easy to understand shloka from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It is shloka 518. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shunichaiva Shvapake cha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. People who are wise treat equally a learned and humble brahmana, a cow, an elephant, and even a person who cooks and eats dog meat. Always remember one thing, that stupid and silly social things or meaningless rituals, traditions and customs that are practiced in our Indian society are not because of the Sanatana Dharma, they are because of one's ignorance of it. I recently made a video titled The Usher. I started that video by revealing some important truths about Vedanta. That's what I'm going to do even in this video. The peak of Sanatana Dharma is Vedanta, not temples or gods or deities. Please understand this important fact. When we were little children, our parents sent us to school, didn't they? We first went to lower kindergarten, and then we went into grades 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into secondary school and high school. After completing high school, some people stopped their studies and took up some kind of profession, while others went to university for higher studies in whichever subject they chose. There were also others who, after completing university, wanted to study even further, so they took up research in a subject of their choice and did their PhD. There is one thing in common among all these people. None of them stayed back in primary school. They left primary school and they moved on. Similarly, the Vedas can be analogized with or compared to the university of life. The Vedas start with the Karma Kanda, where you have rites and rituals and so on, and they proceed towards Vedanta. In the Karma Kanda stage, they chant mantras and perform pujas or homas in temples or in other holy places. And finally, they arrive at the Upanishads and the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which can be likened to the PhD level in spirituality. Remember that in Vedanta, there are no gods, deities, ghosts, spirits, heaven, hell. No! Vedanta is 100% reason and logic. Vedanta is absolutely rational. There is nothing like belief in God or things like that. You don't need to believe or fear anything. No, not at all. Self-realization is the highest stage in Vedanta. Realizing the all-pervading eternal Brahman and completely internalizing such a state is the ultimate goal of Vedanta. It is like dying while still alive, which means fully comprehending that the body is merely an instrument or vehicle through which the all-pervading Atman manifests itself. I'll give you a shloka, which is shloka 46 from the second chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Yavanartha udapani sarvataha samplatodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya janataha. For a man of self-realization, the purpose served by the Vedas is as much as what a small well does when it is flooded everywhere. So what it actually means is that why would one who has attained the stage of PhD in spirituality, as I call it, which is the ultimate realization of the self, need the textbooks he or she used in grade 4 or grade 5? What else do you understand from the shloka? It is that a Brahmana is one who has realized Brahman. It's got nothing to do with caste or community or so. Well, let's see what people usually say about religion in our Indian society. Your elders must have taught you that you should have belief in God, you should fear God, you should wear vibhuti or kumkum on your forehead and go to a temple on Fridays and break a coconut. And that if you did all that, you would be considered a devout religious person. I know that most of you might not have read the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, although it takes merely 3 to 4 hours to read it in any language of your choice. Well, that apart, let me ask you, have you at least heard of the Avadhuta Gita? The Avadhuta Gita is a Sanskrit scripture which contains the foundational principles of Advaita Vedanta. The term Avadhuta Gita means the song of the free man. I'm now going to quote 3 shlokas from the Avadhuta Gita that are sure to shake you up. Shloka 5, Chapter 1. Vedanta sara sarvasvam jnanam vijnanam evacha ahamatma nirakaraha sarvavyapisva bhavatah. The quintessence of the whole of Vedanta is this knowledge, this supreme knowledge that I am by nature, the formless and all-pervasive Atman, or Self. Shloka 34, Chapter 1. Vedana lokana surana yajna varnashramo naiva kulam na jatehi na dhuma margo na chadipti margo brahmaika rupam paramartha tattvam. There are no Vedas, no worlds, no gods, no sacrifices. There is certainly no caste, no stage in life, no family, no birth. There is neither the path of smoke nor the path of light. There is only the highest truth, the eternal Brahman. Shloka 1, Chapter 8. Dvadyatraya vyapakata hatate, dhyane nachetaha parata hatate, stutyamaya vakparata hatate, kshamasva nityam trividha paradhan. O Brahman, in my pilgrimage to seek you, I have overlooked your omnipresence. Through meditation, I have formed a mental image of you, neglecting your formless essence. Singing your praise, I have tried to describe you, ignoring your indescribable nature. Please forgive my 3 sins. The highest goal in Vedanta is your realization that the I in you is that highest all-pervading self with no boundaries such as the body or your thoughts that you are limited to your body. So in such a thought, in such a state of mind, there is nothing like gender, caste or religion. There is no place for all that. There is the only one all-pervading Brahman which is visible in different forms or which appears in different shapes and forms. Wherever there is no form, Brahman appears as empty space, sky or the sky element. That's it. Let's be honest and think, why did Buddhism and Jainism come into existence in the first place? There must have been something wrong with the practices of people following the Sanatana Dharma, and that is why Buddhism and Jainism came into existence. Probably as a response to a situation in which righteousness or dharma had come down. Sri Adi Shankaracharya, the first Shankaracharya, walked all over Bharatvarsha. He walked the lengths and breadths of the subcontinent of Bharatvarsha, met with different kings, discussed with them, debated with them, and convinced them about Vedanta, thereby bringing back to the Sanatana Dharma hundreds of thousands of people who had converted to Buddhism. But what happened a couple of centuries after he attained Samadhi? A new group of people started the dualistic bhakti movement, which completely destroyed all the knowledge and all the spiritual as well as scientific developments that the Bharatiya people had attained and possessed at that time. They said bhakti, but bhakti towards whom? Who are you praying to? Vedanta says that you are that, so who are you praying to? It is possible that the intention of the people who started the Bhakti movement could have been to protect people of the Sanatana Dharma from foreign invaders and marauders who were converting masses of people into their religions. But whatever it is, what the Bhakti movement folks did forced the people to stop using their intellect and stop developing scientifically, and without even realizing and knowing what the actual meaning of the word bhakti was, they became devotees. They stayed back as devotees with shut-down intellects. In the 24th shloka of the 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mam abuddhaya param bhavam ajananto mamavyayam anuttamam. Foolish people who do not know my formless, exalted, imperishable and supreme nature think I assume a manifest human form. We could say that going to temples and performing pujas, the belief in a personal God or the fear of such a God and other such things are acts of sheer stupidity. I'm not saying this. The Bhagavad Gita says so. Now, what I'm going to say is something important, all right? Let's imagine you have a son, a little boy named Shankar. All of a sudden, he comes to you and addresses you saying, Father or Mother, call me Sam hereafter. You say, what is the matter, Shankar? Why did you change your name to Sam? The boy says, yesterday there were some robbers who came to rob us, and when they left, they asked me to take on the name Sam. That is exactly how preposterously stupid it is for people to call the Sanatana Dharma Hindu, Hindu Dharma, Hindu religion, Hindu Madam, Hindutva, or names like that. It is a name given by plunderers and conquerors. Organized religions, unlike the timeless Sanatana Dharma, are actually proper religions with crystal clear do's and don'ts, whereas the Sanatana Dharma has no rules, do's or don'ts. If you happen to be a part of one of the organized religions, you're not allowed to ask questions, you can't discuss, you can't comment, or you can't pass remarks. But in Vedanta, there are no such conditions or restrictions. The Upanishads, India's oldest and most authoritative scriptures, captivate the reader through their unique presentation in the form of a highly engaging format of questions and answers, making them all the more intriguing, thrilling, rewarding, and satisfying. The Upanishads are mostly discussions, question and answer sessions, and debates between teachers and their students. In the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, there are a number of occasions where Arjuna, in fact, counters Krishna, such as in Shloka 5.1. Arjuna says, "Oh Krishna, you praise renunciation of all actions, and then you talk about devotion, service, or yoga. Please tell me for sure which one of the two is better." In the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in Shloka 4.34, "Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadyakshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha." Krishna says, acquire knowledge through reverence to teachers who have known the truth. Serve them and ask them questions. The wise who know the truth will teach it to you. The Sanatana Dharma has always been there. Do not degrade it by calling it a religion or by competing with other religions. Let us look at the translation of the term Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means eternal, and Dharma means righteousness, eternal righteousness, a way of righteous living. That's it. Is it a name given by someone? No. Eternity has always been there, and righteousness is nature's way of maintaining balance. By following the path of the Sanatana Dharma, you are only following the path of nature. Organized religions treat those who belong to other religions or do not follow any religion at all as sinners who are on their way to hell. The gods of organized religions are usually jealous, spiteful, vindictive, and even vengeful, and each of them proclaims that there is no god other than them. And should you worship other gods, you would be called filthy and dirty and sent to hell. They say that not once a day, but they say it multiple times every day when they pray. On the other hand, the fundamental principle of the Sanatana Dharma is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. It comes from the Maha-Upanishad. It means the world is one family. In this family, there are no superior or inferior people, but all are equal. Always remember, whatever practices there are in society usually have either of two sources. One source is the religious scripture or scriptures, and the other one is cultural. Shloka 321. Yadyadacharati shreshthas tattadevetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tadanuvartate. Whatever action an important person does, others follow him and emulate him. What he does becomes a standard for the others. Cultural practices are usually those that were started by some individual or other in the past, which were then followed by other people. Now please bear in mind that as per Indian law, all citizens are equal. So if you ever come across someone committing a hate crime or discriminating against someone because of their social condition, report them to the authorities. But instead of that, running a large newspaper company and making distasteful and silly comments about the Sanatana Dharma without possessing any knowledge of Vedanta or not even knowing how to pronounce the term correctly is just not right. It is not Sanatana Dharma, Mr. So-and-so, it is Sanatana Dharma. I request everyone to please stop using the terms Hindu and Hindu religion, Hindutva, and all such wrong names. Using such names would amount to insulting the great Sanatana Dharma. Remember that even if the whole world were to be destroyed, no one can destroy the Sanatana Dharma. Don't waste your time on things like the belief in a personal God or the fear of God. Read the translation of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita at least once and understand it. Once you have read it, or rather, once you have read it once, contact people who have understood the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and discuss it with them. Make progress in spirituality. Quit dualistic ideas and thoughts. Try to get to the PhD stage in spirituality, for which you would need to aim towards Vedanta. You see, the feeling of I am that you always have, that is that. Tat tvam asi. That thou art, or that you are. No one is low or high, because not just all humans, but all living beings and non-living objects are physical manifestations of that same supreme, all-pervasive Brahman. Again, do not take the name given to us by people who came to loot us and plunder us. You may proudly say that you tread the path of the timeless Sanatana Dharma. I request you once again, please read the Srimad Bhagavad Gita at least once. I have created a number of Gita resources, and if you wish, you may contact me just in case you need any help. Once you've read the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, please let me know by email. I'd be really very glad to hear. I always say this one thing, in almost all my talks. We need to be really, really grateful to our ancestors, our forefathers, who stood strong, stood tall, and did not budge nor give in to pressure and convert to some foreign religion. They guarded the Sanatana Dharma and handed it down to us. Let us prostrate before our great Maharshis, and let us proceed in continuing through our lives with no fears, no doubts, no feelings of inferiority, or no slavery attitude in our minds. Let us all in the world come together, tread the path of the eternal Sanatana Dharma, and let us respect one another, all beings, and above all, Mother Nature, and live as one global family. May the timeless Sanatana Dharma spread all over the world. May everyone in this world live peacefully and happily in complete freedom ever after. Thank you. Jai Shri Krishna.